time to choose peace over potential. And what I mean by that is I think a lot of relationships hit a point where you're like, is this still serving me? Is this something that we can grow through together? Or is this a scenario where I have to let this go? We are not aligned in this moment, and that doesn't mean that I have to have ill will for anyone, but this is not something that is good for my energy, for who I'm trying to become. So for those of you that don't know me, hello, my name is Kat, and I quit my corporate job about a year ago so that way I could find a more authentic and fulfilling lifestyle. And part of that is really understanding myself and really understanding relationships. I think emotions and social dynamics are two of the most important things that we could teach any human being, and they are not taught enough. Anyways, I think whenever I was going on this journey of trying to find a more fulfilling life, it really did make me look at a lot of the relationships that I was maintaining. And it was kind of a wake-up call, or a call for me to audit the people that I'm surrounding myself with. Why am I spending time with them? And in that moment, you have to ask yourself a few questions. One, am I able to be my true and full authentic self with these people? If not, why not? Are these people helping me to grow and get better? Or are they making me feel worse about myself? Yes or no? And as you're asking yourself these questions, you also start to ask yourself, why am I friends with them in the first place? Was it because of convenience and where I lived? Was it because of the interests that we have? And if so, do I still have those interests, or have I evolved away from those interests? Because if you had drinking buddies and you no longer care to drink, is there still a relationship there? And these are all really important questions to ask yourself. And depending on the question, you need to really take a look that if something isn't working, how do you contribute to the problem? Not to say that either one of you is the problem, but if you can't be your authentic self with someone, why not? Is it a mental constraint that you have because of something that was conditioned into you growing up? Is it a projection that you have onto them? In what way are you contributing to the way that you feel in relationships? And what are you allowing in relationships that you shouldn't be allowing? Because the more that you can understand where you're going wrong in relationships, you can look at the dynamics that you have and be like, all right, I think that we built a really shitty foundation here. And at this point, this relationship feels like a cage, not a home. And the reason that I say this is because I think a lot in metaphors. And the current visual that I'm getting for relationships is you want to have the tools to build a home, right? What happens sometimes is if you and the other person are not communicating well enough, you cannot build a firm foundation. So what happens as you continue to move through the relationship, if it builds quickly, but it might not be stable. And what happens is you might reach a point where everything collapses in on you. And the two of you are just inside all of the rubble. And at that point, you can't make it out. There's nowhere to go with this relationship. And it has to end. That is how relationships implode. The relationship that you want to build is one that is slow and steady and has a solid foundation. And you are able to look at the building blocks together and be like, hey, you know what? I think this is a little bit of a loose brick over here. I think we need to get rid of it. Or in the same capacity, on a grander scale, depending on how long you've been in this relationship for, when you've built your house, do you need an add-on extension? If you added on an extension, is it time to take that away? It's all decisions that you are actively making though. It's not a reactive decision that you're making. And so when you're looking at all of your relationships, it's almost like looking at, all right, is this a house? Is this a cage? Or is this a house-ish foundation that is very close to becoming a cage. And is this worth saving or not? And I think that's more so the relationship that I'm talking about right now, is where you're in the house about to fall into a cage situation. And when you reach that point, you need to understand it's okay to let the relationship go. And by making the active choice to do that, what you're actually doing is removing the bricks. You're allowing, by actively choosing, hey, we're not aligned, it gives you the opportunity to rebuild that relationship later if it makes sense. That is the healthy way of looking at the relationship. It's not you should be afraid of hurting their feelings because you don't think that you're aligned anymore. It should be, hey, this is going to get really, really bad for the both of us if we don't let this go for right now. And when you do that, I think both of you will find that you have a lot more energy and you don't feel as drained because a weight has been lifted off of you. And so when that happens, you can then put that energy towards relationships and other activities, whether that be your career, your family, your spirituality, whatever you want it to go towards. You now have free energy to spend elsewhere. And when the energy that you're giving out is beginning to give back to you in a less harsh way, your life is going to get better. You are going to feel more fulfilled. And that's not to say that relationships shouldn't be challenging. But like I said, you want to be able to be active in a relationship, not reactive in a relationship. So you're going to have people that will be really big mirrors for you. And it will be really hard to work through certain conditioning that's in your brain. But those people should be people that you can have open and honest communication with in order to fix the issues. The end all be all of this whole situation is to look at your relationships and understand why you are in said relationships. The relationships that you have an issue with, why do you have an issue with that relationship? And what role are you playing in that relationship to make it be one that you don't necessarily feel comfortable in? Once you've assessed all of that, you can understand, is this something I should be putting my energy towards, or is this a scenario where we should cut the dead weight and reevaluate later, and then go on to spend that energy in a more productive and encouraging environment. And with that, understanding that when you cut the dead weight, that makes it sound like it's really negative. You don't have to have negative feelings toward anybody. It's just acknowledging that you guys are not on the same path at this moment in time. You guys do not have the tools to be able to have a healthy relationship at this time. Anyways, if you like the video, go ahead and give it a thumbs up, comment, subscribe, do all the things. And I will see you in the next video. I hope you have a great day. Okay, love you, bye. Mwah.